everyone. I'm Damini, your host for today, and today I have with me Advocate Prateek Mishra, who's the partner at EPA Law Offices. So, thank you so much, sir, and welcome to our channel. You actually agreed on a very short notice and accepted my invitation. That means a lot. Thank you so much, sir.
No, thank you, and thank you for agreeing to do this on a Friday, which was most convenient. So I think we can continue.
Not an issue, sir. So, without taking your much time, sir, would you mind sharing your college life, particularly talking about those roller coaster rides for 5 years? So, what all sort
Yes,
of activities you were engaged in?
yes. I wouldn't say my college life was a roller coaster ride. I believe that it was quite consistent. I would say the graph was quite consistent, which is not something. If you were to ask my parents, which is not something that I can say for my school life because I was, one of the backbenchers while I was in school. I tried to fix all of that while I was in law school, perhaps because the concept of law and the discipline of law was something that I could connect with. Uh, I don't belong to a lawyer family, so I'm a first generation lawyer, and my both my parents were government officers, and both in the engineering and science, disciplines. So it was quite difficult to convince them initially that I wanted to venture into the field of law because knowing parents, they always want to protect their child. And if a parent is in a particular profession or discipline, that is where he can protect and guide their child to the best of their capability. So these were uncharted waters essentially for my parents. But I'm glad they agreed, and allowed me to pursue law. And I was very fortunate again because it was the first time that CLAT was happening in 2008 when I sat for the examination. And before that, if you wanted to study law, you would have to give 10, 15 examinations. So that really worked out for me. And I cleared CLAT. I went to NLIU Bhopal, the 5 most wonderful years of my life. It was not without its challenges, but after you graduate and you realize that you've now practiced for 5 years or you've now practiced for 10 years. But those 5 years that you've spent in law school are always special. You always look back at them with a very fond feeling. So that was what was college life for me. And I tried to keep myself busy. I tried to read as much as possible. I tried to dabble in mooting and writing, and just pursue whatever I could and whatever time and resources allowed me to do. So it was a special time. That was college for me. And after that, before I wanted to start practice of the law, uh, arbitration had really captured my imagination while I was in law school. So I really wanted to seriously pursue the discipline of arbitration for some time. So I decided to pursue an LLM immediately after law school. So not something that I advise a lot of students to do. Simply because I did it does not mean that you have to do it. In fact, I would say that it's much better to practice immediately after you graduate than pursue an LLM. All of that I say in hindsight, of course. So that was what college life was for me. Those were 6 years essentially, not 5, but 6.
So, like you actually said, like you spent 6 years in the college, right? But sir, could you please share some experience of yours, like what sort of activities you were engaged in? Mooting, internship is
Yes.
obviously something like that's very important in the college, but still like mooting or like were there some other sort of activities as well? Because the audience is gonna watch this video, they'll surely have this thing in mind. Like, what are the other activities which one can explore in the law school?
Yes, of course, I was I've always been a fan of PC gaming, so I would partake in computer gaming a lot, and of course venturing out sightseeing in Bhopal. It's a lovely place. I think Bhopal to me is the most wonderful, most beautiful city in the country. So traveling from places to places with my friends and enjoying the amazing cuisine that Bhopal has to offer, gaming, that sort of those sort of activities, apart from, of course, your meeting, etc.
So, as I said, that internship is an integral part of your law school journey, right? So, you might have interned at many places. So, would you like to share your experiences of internships?
Yes, I did not intern at many places. I did not intern at all in my first year. I did my first internship at the end of a second year, I believe. And I think I might have interned at five places at most. But I tried to make the most of those opportunities. In those five internships, I can say confidently that I gave my best. Whoever I was working with, I tried to ensure that, whatever services or whatever assistance I was providing, that I could do it to the best of my capability, so that it could be appreciated by somebody who was either guiding me or mentoring me during those internships. So, let's say it was maybe one or max two internships a year. I did not intern at any place for 2 months. I interned at max for 21 days or 1 month. That is how, our law school trimesters were structured. That, you would want some time out of the year to spend with your family. So I tried to ensure that at least a month or so was spent at home during the summer vacations, which left, about a month or so for internships every once in a while. So yeah, that was about it. Not many places, and I do not advise people to intern, complete 15 or 20 internships, etc. But there's no hard and fast rule. We're all different, and the circumstances may be different. I, did my learning, most of my learning in law school through, the courses and through moods. But I also learned from my internships. In a different circumstance for somebody else, internships may be the only source of learning. So I'm not saying there's any hard and fast rule as to what you should do. But anybody who can relate to my situation, you should not intern a lot. Just intern at a few select places and give it your best.
Yes, so because whenever I open my LinkedIn, people are actually struggling to get internships, right? Because like everyone wants internship, be it the summer internship or winter internship. So internship becomes the integral part. But so people say that if you want good internships or like if you want internships, particularly like we talk about law field, people say that networking is very important. You need to connect with a lot of people. So, do you really think that nowadays LinkedIn is something where you can expand your networks? If I just rephrase my question, so do you really think that networking is important and LinkedIn is the one which is actually serving the purpose?
Absolutely. You see, our profession and anything that is linked to the practice of law, networking is very important. You can be excellent in the field of law, but the students who are watching this should not forget that you cannot claim that you built your career in law simply by your own effort and without any assistance or guidance by anybody else. One way or the other, either somebody was selfless and mentored you, or either because of some circumstances and certain compulsions, somebody gave you an opportunity which allowed you to shine. So it's extremely important to network, but you have to, as opposed to mere connections and connecting somebody and letting that connection rot in that long list of your social network connects. It's very important to build meaningful relationships, and to build that relationship, a healthy professional relationship, slowly, and demonstrate your value. Otherwise, LinkedIn or any professional networking avenue is no different than Facebook. So networking is extremely important. But as important is it to connect to people, it's also important to demonstrate value, to meet people from all spheres of life, not just lawyers. Meet people, who will probably not offer any benefit to your professional career, but you might end up discussing certain concepts, some ideas that might help you for the rest of your life. So try and network with people across, across the board. Don't limit yourself to a particular field, and don't network in the sense that you're only networking to benefit yourself. As I said, focus on meaningful, healthy professional relationships.
But sir, like when you say that LinkedIn is actually serving the purpose for networking, but you need professionals, like we need professionals like you who actually respond to people. Because sometimes what happens is people are approaching a lot of people, but they don't get a reply. Because
Yes.
okay, that's okay if we talk about the emails as well, like the formal emails, people don't get a reply, but they do, give some follow-up emails. But what happens in LinkedIn, like there are some professionals who actually reply to students. Like I was fortunate enough to get a reply from you because I contacted you through LinkedIn only. I invited you through LinkedIn only. So that was like something which gave me a positive result. But sometimes what happens is we actually contact someone on LinkedIn, we actually text them, because LinkedIn is something which is making your process very easy nowadays. But do you really think that people need to understand, like those students particularly, who wants to bridge the gap between the professionals and the students, but some professionals are not actually replying to the students. Maybe they are a bit busy or they are just ignoring the same. So do you really want to address the issue?
Yes. You see, simply because it's social networking and you're virtually interacting with people does not mean that you forget, the hard and fast rules that you would apply in real life, or if you were to physically meet somebody or physically attend a conference. You do not just randomly go meet a person and tell him, I want an internship at your place. You know, some extremely nice people will be most happy to tell you how to pursue it, but more often than not, people will be taken aback, which is why I suggested that you should build relationships slowly, give it some time, demonstrate value, and eventually, when somebody understands that this is a passionate person, this is a person who understands so and so field of law, they would be most happy to work with you. It's not just your skills as a lawyer or your skills as a law student that matter. Your interpersonal skills are as important. So we cannot entirely blame professionals who are not immediately responding. For all you know, that professional is there on LinkedIn to just read some updates, and he's not very active. So everybody has their own approach to this, and there's
Exactly
no
my point.
right way
That is
of
why
doing
I
things.
actually added that there can be two possible ways. Maybe they are very busy, or their approach toward LinkedIn is very different from what you're supposing. Or maybe
Yes.
like they are not a bit aware about the process, like people are very eager to interact with them. So that was more of a formal note of the conversation. So let's just move on to the informal side. Now we're gonna play some
Yes.
rapid fire. I'll ask you some questions and
Okay.
quickly you have to answer them. Just don't try to
Sure.
Google it for sure. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So you need to tell me the percentage of attendance you had in your college.
Uh, I think I had 50% attendance, which was way short of the minimum in my first semester. Then a very sweet letter from the director reached my family.
Oh God.
For the rest of the 4.5 or 5 years, I had an attendance over 70%. And if I had to attend a moot, for example, I
Then you have an
participated in the
excuse. You
Jessup
were
moot.
on duty. Yeah.
There was no excuse. Even if you were mooting, that 70% rule had to be followed in our college. First trimester was the only time an excuse was given to at least my batch, if attendance was short. So even if you had to attend a moot or a debate or any other activity, you had to still maintain a 70% record. So, what we'll do is we had trimesters. So it was 3 months. First months of studies, second month you'll have your mid-trimester exams, then project presentations, and then your final exams. So, 2 months were spent entirely giving examinations. So what we'll do is, we'll keep 100% attendance in the first month. Second month, we'll of course give
Oh my God.
examinations and
I also
attend
do the same
few classes
because we have
here
that
or
thing
there.
that last में कुछ भी हो सकता है. So just be on a safer side.
Yes. While it's very important to attend all your classes, it's not always possible. So you need to
Exactly.
understand, how to go about it, how to maintain the bare minimum that is required, and also ensure that whatever you're missing out in class, that you then put in an effort and read about those subjects. Law is a lovely profession. At the end of the day, your professor can have a different opinion of a particular matter or a case, or a case, or a enactment. You can have a different view. So there are so many sources of law. Just try and keep up with the course.
So, like, was there any professor in their college like who used to cut your attendance even if you don't talk?
There were many.
Or
There were many,
like
but I
try to
continue to, I
rephrase it
maintain.
and yeah, make it easy for you. Like sometimes what happen is when you're late, okay, the professor is inside the class. So he might say that, okay, just come inside, you're here for studies, right? Attendance should not matter. So did this thing happen with you? Because this happened with
It
me every time.
it did happen. It did happen with me. But let me, first of all say that, this happened with a professor who I respect a lot, who I've maintained very good relations with, and I understand his point of view as well. But being the very passionate law student that I was, he told me that you can attend the class, but I will not give you attendance. And I argued that I was a consumer, and my parents had paid their hard-earned money to the college, and this is a course that I was undertaking. So all of that has happened. College again is a special time, but doesn't really matter in the long run. Just try and maintain your attendance record. That's it.
I thought that this happens with me only because what happened is like there was a professor, like he was my favorite professor, okay? So because I used to enjoy his classes, like his way of teaching was very good. So what happened is one day I got late, okay? So he told me that Damini, just come inside, enjoy the lecture, attend the lecture, but you won't get attendance. Oh my God, my face at that time was like, I was very clueless because I didn't know what to say. I was like, yes, sir, I'm here for study. Yes, sir, I'm here for study. But I was just coming inside the class. He said, just come inside. I was just thinking, like, what should I say now? Because I'm not going to get attendance, right? So, what's that feeling? Could you please just mention what's that feeling?
It doesn't really matter. You see, if you're the sort of person who's not maintaining a 70% on
Yeah,
record, and you're at the end of the year, you're reliant on each class for your attendance, it's probably your fault, unless it was for some reasons beyond your control, some personal reasons, etc. Don't let that happen. Keep a 80-90% record, and then if you cannot attend a class, you cannot attend a class. Or if you have to miss out on an attendance, then be it. It's not going to destroy your grade.
yeah, no offenses for any professor, no offenses for those students who have 100% of attendance, but yeah, classes are very important. You should attend classes, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So, sir, moving on to the next question.
Trust me, before we move on, and this is something that if you were to ask anybody that you're interviewing, if you were to ask them, do you ever feel that this is a particular subject you should have paid more attention to in college? Nobody's going to say no, because we all regret not having paid some attention to a particular course while
Exactly.
we were in law school. So if you can attend a class, that's the easiest way to grasp a concept.
Then you don't have
You
to
can
rush to
also
everything
debate
just
and you can
prior to the
ask
next
questions.
examination.
Yes. So try and attend the classes.
Exactly, no offenses. So, like, you need to tell me the best experience of yours, maybe during the school days or the college days.
All 5 years of law school were amazing. Even those
No, but we need a
experiences which
unique
are
answer. No, we need a unique answer. The best experience of yours, which you actually remember till now.
many, as I said, many.
Many.
I do not have one particular favorite moment. I had a good time in college, and even some moments that I feel were not so good. In hindsight, I think of those and I laugh, or I'm amused that it was such a big issue back then. So I believe that you will go through the same phase.
But what about the worst one?
Yes. That's of course, but I will share it. My mother was suffering from cancer when I was in law school. She passed away in 2016 when I had completed law school. But whenever she'd have an operation or a chemotherapy session, and I was trying to maintain some sort of balance between personal life and curricular activities, there were some difficult moments. So again, there's no one particular moment, but those are those moments in college life that were bitter. So yeah.
Sorry for your loss. I shouldn't have asked that question.
No, but
But
that's okay. You know, it happens. I'm not the only one who's gone through those experiences.
because
Many of the
yeah, this
viewers
pandemic
perhaps
also
will
came
go
with a
through
lot of
such.
tragedies for some.
Yes, and I hope nobody has to go through what I've gone through, but there are people,
Exactly.
facing even more difficult circumstances. So this is my way of telling them that, some empathy, that it's okay. Just hold on to yourself and things will get better.
So, sir, like if I could just put before you a simple equation as to
Yeah.
lawyer is equal to what?
A lawyer is a service provider, first of all, and a service provider, uh, you know, that's a heavy concept. Many lawyers don't understand this, but you're a service provider. You should be available to your client, 24/7, always available, as proficient as you should be. And at the same time, your advice should be up to the mark and should help your client and should protect your client.
So that was all about the rapid fire. So come back to the more formal side of the conversation. So, sir, would you like to share something about your firm?
Yes, I spent 7 years in a very big law firm in the country, and I was given the opportunities to prove myself as a professional, and it was an amazing time. Of course, I was at one place for 7 years. That really explains one fact, that I really liked the people that I was working with, especially my immediate mentors and seniors. But at the end of 7 years, I did realize that if I don't give it a shot now, it might just be too late. And I've always felt that the most fulfilling way to practice law is to practice independently, because you have greater control over your schedule. You also have greater control in the longer run over the sort of matters that you want to do, over the sort of specialization that you want to build. So, here was me into 2020. I decided that it's time to go independent, and many people have asked me why specifically this time, because it's a particularly difficult time. But I believe that this time is actually a great time. This phase that we're going through as a country is a great time to actually go independent, because there are many people who want good advice, good legal advice, but may not be able to afford the rates that we used to provide as a part of a big law firm. So you can provide quality, cost-effective advice as an independent professional. So it's a great time to go independent. Those were my reasons, and it's been a short time. I have not regretted it, and it's not as bad as people would tell you that it can be. So while experiences can differ from person to person, in my case, in this short span of time, I've been happy, and being happy is very important. It's more important than money. So here I am practicing independently, and my firm is my way of being able to do so. We are not a very large firm. We are a few lawyers trying to do only those matters or practice in those fields of law which we are passionate about. We don't have to do everything across the board. That's the idea. I believe that specialization in some way or the other. Of course, being a generalist is important, but knowing a bit more about a few fields of law is a great way of advancing professionalism in our in this practice. So that's what it is. That's what my firm is to be
And
more
so,
professional.
like, I should ask you this question. What about the internship opportunities at your firm?
Yes. So I'm also one of those people. I get all of a sudden I get internship requests on LinkedIn, and I try to respond as much as possible. But I always wonder, if you were to visit my profile, there's a link to my website. If you go to the career section, there's a form, and we've come up with a formula as to how we would screen our interns, as to how we will decide who probably suits our requirements, or who will be a great part of the team. So there are a few questions that you have to answer, and it's only the most passionate answers that we go for. So, my firm has a website. That website has a particular dedicated sections for internships, and there are a few questions. Try and answer those to the best of your ability. Do not copy paste from a previous application, and you probably will have a good chance of interning with us. Having said that, we do not take 10 or 15 or 20 interns at a time. We just keep two interns at a point in time. So in any given month, we only have about two interns. So while we may not be able to reply immediately, we certainly go through all the applications, provided those applications comply with the format in the website. And we try and connect with the applicants. And if there's a possibility of accommodating them this month or the other month, or maybe 6 months down the line, we try to do so.
But so like most important question is like, what about the slot availability? Do you take interns throughout the year or just summer or winter? And then like, if someone wants to apply right now, so they can apply for
Yes.
which month?
Yes, so we are not, we have applications until the end of July at the moment. So if somebody were to apply right now, perhaps August. But you see, sometimes a person who's been proactive has applied in the month of March for an internship in August or September. If you're already full in the month of August, from now on, there's no possibility. Circumstances may change. Perhaps we will have more lawyers in the time to come, and we might require more interns as well. But at the moment, it's two, and it really depends on whether that month is full or not.
So that means if someone wants to, after watching this video, if they just want to apply for internship at your firm, they need to apply probably after August, right? Or
At the
maybe
moment,
for
yes.
August.
Maybe for August, but probably after August.
After August, okay. And any specification like regarding as to which year of law the student should be in?
At the very least, third year. We prefer people from fourth and fifth year. And we really want students to study our practice. All the information is publicly available. Sometimes I get an application for internship in the competition law team, but I don't practice competition law.
Oh.
So some students will do well to just study our practice and see which field of law we practice.
Yeah, I think that's
And
very that's very important for everyone to know, like wherever you are sending an application, at least do a bit research about the firm, right?
Yes.
As to what that person is doing or what's the area of
Yes.
specialization
But
of that.
I actually have some thoughts about it. You see, lawyers and law students in our country have this habit of and this love for formats or samples, and all they do is they change these details and file it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this practice or this habit starts in law school. No, just stop it. If you're in law school and you're hearing this or watching this, please start drafting particularly, or specific drafts or applications for each internship opportunity that you want to apply for. Do not use the previous draft, and do not use a straight jacket sample. Just do your due diligence and then apply. And I do not have any reason to believe that if you're not diligent, if you're not passionate in your application, if you do not cover the bare minimum, why you wouldn't be at the very least considered.
So yeah, this happens like, when I was interviewing some other lawyers as well, they also said that they don't practice corporate law or something. They are into litigation, but they got an application like the inclination is towards journal corporate.
Yes.
So this is something like people should start researching about the firm. It takes only 1 day or 2 days. You just need to see like what's the area of specialization of that firm, right?
Yes.
So
yes,
yeah.
And I once heard a senior say this, that you're as good as the last email you issued. You don't have a personal relationship with every law firm that you're applying to. Your email is the first opportunity that somebody gets to actually understand you, who you are as a person. If that cover letter is not up to the mark, if there are grammatical errors, if it's not properly formatted, if you're not putting in that effort, why should a law firm consider you for the internship? If you're not particular about the application itself, what does that say about you, as an intern? How seriously will you take the work that is allotted to you? So you may be the best student in the law school, but if you're not taking your application seriously, there's a good chance you're not being considered. Not even being considered. Your application is probably, after your cover letter, your CV is not being opened because the cover letter was so bad.
This is a serious issue which everyone, should focus on, because no doubt internship is an integral part of your 5 years in the law school. But at the same time, getting a good internship means you need to be perfect at every point, like be it the CV, be it your cover letter, your grammatical mistakes. Everyone should focus on that as well, because these are some small things that you need to focus that gives you a big result of getting an internship at a good firm. So, sir, that was all about the internship experiences, rapid fire. So, to wrap up the session on a positive note, any sort of suggestion for the budding lawyers? Because this pandemic came with a lot of tragedies and traumas for some. So, it's like, keeping in view the mental health of the person, the work pressure people have during, doing work from home. Any sort of advice for the law students, budding lawyers, plus the batch of 2020 plus 2021?
Yes. The first thing I want to say is this. As far as us going through a difficult time as a country, the law students are not an exception. Lawyers are going through a difficult phase, founders are going through a difficult phase, and as the news will tell you, even the most seniors of lawyers may not be doing so well. So you're not alone. Everybody is going through a tough time. uh, you know have a thick skin, do not lose heart, be patient, and practice empathy. If you are facing tough times, you would probably relate better, as to what somebody else may be going through. Be nice to people, be nice to your seniors, be nice to your juniors, be nice to your batchmates, and be nice to everybody around you. And of course, you're at this is an important time in your career, and you're in a way you're fortunate that you've now seen what a pandemic can do to law practices and what's really happening, and we will go through a paradigm shift. So don't limit your ideas of practice of law to just being in a law firm or practicing independently. Pandemic has also opened so many other opportunities in the field of law. So think outside the box. And of course, within your resources, try and do the best that you can. uh, and of course, with time, things do resolve themselves. So just wait it out and things will get better.
This too shall pass, because I think, like, no doubt this pandemic came with a lot of traumas for some, but I think nobody should lose hope. And your suggestion, you actually gave a good set of suggestions for those who are actually losing hope. But yeah, you should start thinking it in a positive way, because no doubt if you are not having a good job right now because of the ongoing situations, at least just start working on yourself so that when the pandemic ends, you have a better thing in your hand. And
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. So, sir, any sort of advice for those like the batch of 2020 plus 2021 who think that after, because that is something that's very obvious, even after 5 years of my journey in the law school, I want a job at my hand, right? So, like, particularly taking into consideration the batch of 2020 plus 2021, any sort of advice for those who are very worried about getting a job, but maybe during the current situations, they're not having any?
Yes. The first thing that I want to say is resist peer pressure. Simply because somebody in your sphere has gotten a job, perhaps they were lucky, perhaps they were that good. Do not compare yourselves to them. If you do not drop that habit in law school itself, it's going to be chaotic when you enter, a law firm or an independent practice, etc. Because you would have this very unhealthy habit of comparing yourself to others. But at the end of the day, you're special. There's nobody else just like you who's seen the circumstances just like you. So first of all, don't compare yourself to others. Second of all, I believe that as far as law firms are concerned, because you're talking about jobs, as an advocate, nobody is unemployed. As soon as you clear the bar exam, or you get that provisional certificate, you are an advocate. So you can start practicing independently even though you don't have a senior, right? I've seen some of my closest friends are doing really well in life, in their professional careers. They've never reported to a senior. As soon as they graduated from law school, I know somebody in particular who landed in Delhi, who's never reported to any senior, who went to the court diligently every day. He has his own office today. He owns his own office. He has an amazing practice. So you have those examples as well. So don't just sit and cry that you were not given this opportunity or that opportunity, or that your law school was to blame for that, or that your parents' attitude towards your profession was to blame for that. Because at the end of the day, if a person in such a difficult situation in a profession where having a senior or a mentor is considered to be the most important thing, can build such a wonderful career, in my view, then you can too. So that's the other thing. And I believe that we're going through a shift. If you've ever studied the recruitment model in UK or US, there is a buffer period before you're you're absorbed by the law firm after you graduate, perhaps a year or two. So even though you've been recruited, it might be a year or two before you join them as an associate. That's essentially, those law firms realized way back that these situations do happen, attritions happen, a lot of people leave en masse. So they have candidates recruited and ready to join for at least two batches. That's going to happen in this country. If you were a 2020 graduate, you would probably be absorbed by a law firm in 2021. And if you're a 2021 graduate, there's a good possibility you will be absorbed in 2022. And there will be a plus minus of 6 or 7 months to this figure as well. So be ready for that and be open to part-time jobs. Use this time to undertake more courses. Use this time to work with probably a senior lawyer in your city, if you're in your hometown at the moment. Of course, internships do help if you can intern at the moment. Uh, you know, render pro bono advice if you already graduated, and that's going to teach you a lot about the practice of law. So use this time before a law firm absorbs you, and also be ready if a law firm is absorbing people 1 year down the line. Then of course there's a year, if you've even not been recruited, there will be a year or two when you will have to struggle. So just do remember that, and try to use this time to the best of your capability. And do know that we have a 60-year career. A lawyer does not have to retire. There's no retirement age of 60 or 65. So merely because you do not have the life that at 25 that you envisioned at 18 years of age, does not mean that you will not have a great life at 35 and then
Yeah.
at 45. So have patience.
That's a good sort of advice for everyone, and not only for batch of 2020 plus 2021. And I think that's actually a good piece of advice for the budding law students as well. Because yeah, you said that there is no age bar in this, legal fraternity. So just don't think that if like particularly those who are in first and second years, they think that if they don't get an internship, they don't have a future. So they actually lose their hopes. So it's like you will be
Yes.
successful one day, but you have to start learning everything.
And on a lighter note, especially people who've not been getting the internships they expect. I got recruited by a law firm that did not recruit from my law school, and I had never interned with that law firm in the past. You have no idea how things work out. So just hope for the best and keep giving it the best shot, because you have actually no idea how things work, and how we have the plans of mice and men. You have no idea how destinies work.
Exactly, because every day, every day comes with a new hope, and like every day is a new learning, and life is a learning process as well. So just learn everything. Just don't give up at times when you think about something you don't get it. So that was a good piece of advice for everyone, sir.
Yes,
And
and
I
enjoy law school, because you're not going to
exactly
get
because you're gonna make
that
memories,
time
but
again.
particularly the batches of 2023 plus 24 are suffering because they don't have much time now. They only have 2 years left in law school. And
Yes.
nobody's a bit sure whether the colleges are going to reopen or not.
Yeah, I mean, try and enjoy this time, play games, watch movies. Of course, don't slack on your curriculum, but use this time as best as you can, because my first retainer fee that I got in my law firm, I wanted to buy a PlayStation. I got it, but I got it, but I never got to, properly finish even a single game in the past 7 years. So you have that time. If you get an opportunity to you know enjoy your hobbies, then please use this time, because our profession is time intensive. It's effort intensive. So you would really thank me for this advice.
Yeah, that's actually good piece of advice for everyone who thinks that law is something which is confined to classroom learning or the moot court hall learning. But like whenever we talk to someone who's not into legal field, they say that, oh, you're in law or you're a lawyer, you might not be might not be sleeping at nights. Your room might be full of books, right? But you need to
Yes,
change this mentality. Just have some bit entertainment in your life as well, right?
absolutely. Yes, stress management, because you see, you don't know how your time is going to be spent, which matter is going to, come up on the board all of a sudden, what you're going to do tomorrow, or perhaps you will have to spend a sleepless night to prepare for a matter on the next day. But if you can manage your stress, if you're happy, all these things don't matter.
Exactly. So that was a good session, sir, and thank you so much for the advices. And based on your experience of actually realizing after 7 years that you want to go independent, that's actually very motivating and that's actually very daring. And I think people are going to learn about the same, because sometimes what happens is you have pressure, you have family pressures, you have professional pressure, because of which you can't even take a single decision for yourself. But you
Yes,
actually thought about it. You thought about yourself and you took a decision of coming independent. So that's something very daring and motivating. And I hope the audience are going to watch this video, particularly the law students and the budding lawyers, plus the batches of 2020 plus 2021, just learn something that you need to be a bit daring. You need to think about yourselves as well. Though, if you don't have anything right now in your hands, but at least just do something that after some point of time, you have everything in your hand. So with this, we wrap up the session and thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.